Ghana's ICT experts will gather in Accra next week to fashion out policies which would position the country as a technological hub on the continent. It is being spearheaded by the National Information Technology Agency, NITA. The forum is scheduled to take place at Alisa Hotel in Accra on Monday, that's April the 15th, and it's also expected to bring together over 500 stakeholders. I have in the studio with me Kweku Che-Ofori, is the Deputy Director General of NITA, to tell us more about this forum and what is expected to achieve. Of course, ICT is key in these times of information. Mr. Che, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Is it a hyphenated Che-Ofori?
No, it's a
hyphenated. Or Che is fine?
Che is fine.
Okay, you're welcome. So let's talk about ICT in Ghana. 500 stakeholders, and this forum is. How is this going to change anything? How is this forum going to change anything?
Well, it's a great step in the right direction. It's the beginning of many things to happen. Basically, it has been the mandate of His Excellency the President to make sure that ICT is part and parcel of everything that we do in this country. And if you look at all the emerging countries and countries that have already emerged, have always taken advantage of technology to take leapfrogs advantage of what is happening in the global world. Yeah. What we're looking to do is to engage government and non-governmental agencies and private sectors as well to be able to fashion out a way forward for the nation in regards to ICT and how we look to change the course of the conversation.
Okay.
If you look at countries that have advanced, I've had the opportunity to be in countries like Singapore, where basic technology things have changed the conversation. It can be health, it can be death and birth, it can be immigration, it can be everything. We've worked with immigration, we've worked with passport, we work with death and birth, we work with NCA, we work with almost all the other agencies as well. Okay. And we also collaborate with private partnership, because it's also the agenda to move private entities forward so that they can also advance, also help governments even advance in the ICT space. So we work with companies like Microsoft, Vodafone, MTN, Blue Space, and other places, and other agencies such as, to be able to help us move the conversation. So it's not just government, but government and non-governmental.
So it's all about how we make our systems IT friendly, if you like, or efficient using the platforms that IT provide.
Exactly.
Is this correct?
Exactly.
And so when the target is on private institutions, wouldn't you say rather that those who need it is the government institutions, because these are the institutions that have become quite dormant when it comes to ICT and its use, wouldn't you say?
Well, I'll say the government agencies have not been left out. So what we've done is we've invited the ministers, the deputy ministers, the CEOs, deputy CEOs, and directors who are part and parcel of the decision making in the ICT and even decision making in their agencies. What we've also realized is that in some cases where ICT is very crucial, but the decision makers really are not there and not getting it, it becomes a stopgap for us. And henceforth, we are inviting not just private entities but also government entities to be able to fashion out some of the difficulties that we also face, so that this conversation can move forward and move forward. Because we need to leapfrog as a country, take advantage of technology and be able to move.
And which is where I bring back the other part of my question about how this will change anything. Is there a specific way you are looking to bring government agencies on board, you know, when it comes to the use of ICT to make their systems more efficient? Is there a specific way that you want to take us through?
Yes.
That after this forum, for example, these are some of the things that we're expecting our government agencies to begin to do, or these are some of the things that we want to take the heads of these agencies through, that they will understand ICT better.
Yes, so you see, we are focusing only on government, but we are including everybody else, including governments as well.
No, I get it. Yeah, I'm just really focusing on government because, for obvious reasons.
There's a gap, there's room to grow, right?
Indeed.
And what we are looking to do, it's called a digitization. We're digitizing almost everything in government. If you look at our passports, they're now digitized, our ports are digitized. We are gradually moving in these directions, and education is digitizing its stuff. Immigration, as you can see, immigration just digitizes its stuff. Health is doing the same thing. It's all going to come together somehow, but we need to have the conversation so that in the next future, people don't feel left out, so that we can hear from everybody as well. And this is NITA is going to fashion this conversation now, but in the future, we're going to let the private people also drive it, so that we're also part of it. We step back and also look at what is happening, and that is how we all want everybody to be included in this conversation, so that in the future we have a path in which we want to build this country. Because if it's just government sitting there making decisions, probably not the best. It's just private sectors, they'll always come back to government. So why don't we all sit? Why don't we all, they do.
No, I mean, not necessarily that was not necessarily the point. The point was that, well, how do we get government agencies on board? And of course, you've explained how, you know, we're getting to do things. We've seen the DVLA get onto, do online stuff. We've seen passport office. Are these all under part of the work that the NITA has done?
Yes, so NITA is supporting every government institution. We are hosting their emails, we are supporting their websites, we are backing up with, we are backing fisheries, almost everybody that is implementing anything ICT.
Okay.
So we also want to hear from them. They want to hear from us, including private and public partnerships, so that we know how to foster the conversation. Because no matter what we do, ICT is like part of our lives now. There's no morning that we don't wake up and ICT is not taking over. You're watching your TVs, you're looking at your screens on your cell phones, you're listening to the radio, something. It's part of and parcel of our lives, and it's not going to change. So we need to take advantage of it, especially with the government sector. I agree. Okay. There's room to grow. We are looking to take advantage of that. It's not going to be easy. I see ICT as a gradual process. There's people who are not used to it, and there's so much you can do about that. But when we start a conversation now, and in the next 10 years, we don't want to talk about a conversation about what we're looking to do. We're looking at new ideas of how we're implementing different things to fashion the government forward. So it is our responsibility to do that. We are taking it is also a part of our mandate to do that, and we are taking the bull by the horn and running with it.
If you say so. Quickly about ICT in education before we wrap up this conversation. We've seen the new curriculum that government is trying to implement, and we've heard a lot about ICT. It sounds pretty much ICT focused, which is really great. A lot of people have said. But how is the ministry, and I'm asking since you're under this ministry, how is the NITA, for example, looking to partner the education sector, you know, to bring to fruition what government intends to achieve with this ICT focused curriculum? Because it's great, but there are so many institutions that don't even have electricity, so many institutions that don't even have the wires to encourage them to say, well, we'll get electricity someday.
Okay, so my part is to get the wires there, and we are working on that. We have about 600 something schools that we have to connect to the internet. I believe there's some funding for that we are working on it. So we are aware that there's a gap, and we are fulfilling that. I've had the opportunity to talk to the ministers of education, and they have very wonderful ideas as to how they want to change the face of education. They want every school to be ICT driven, so that education is quicker, is faster, and is advanced, so that we meet the skills, the skill sets and the opportunities globally. But
you do agree that having the idea is one thing.
Implementation is happening.
Getting it done.
The implementation is happening, right? The implementation is happening because I'm in the space and I'm seeing it. The curriculum has to change.
Well, you need to help us to see it
The curriculum has to first change. I went to school, I was reading Critical Soldier, right? Or Koto and all those things. Those things don't apply now if we use to use them, because looking at the educational markets around the world, the Chinese is taking over. They are almost 40% of the education system in the US.
So how are we 40%, getting there?
How are we getting there? We are getting there by
because you're in charge to help us get there, right? We need to
start it, right? Like I said, I'm getting the wires there. I'm getting the power there. Right? We need to teach the kids how to code. So teachers also have to learn differently, right? So that they can implement what they need to implement in the classroom. The classroom has to look different. It doesn't have to be the same chalkboard classroom or whiteboard classroom. It has to be computerized. And that is how we are getting the service there. The ministry is bringing the equipment, other people are bringing other things, so that we all make the soup and make it happen.
I'm getting the feeling that there isn't really a plan on the part of NITA, unless of course it's not part of your mandate. But if it is, I'm getting the feeling that there isn't really a plan to drive this ICT focused curriculum in the education sector. Am I right?
My job is not to drive curriculum. My job is to make sure that when it gets to the school, it works. There's internet there. That's what I'm saying. We're connecting the schools.
That's what I'm saying. That I'm getting the feeling like there isn't a plan. Is that right? Is that feeling right?
For the curriculum, we are not working with the curriculum.
No, not the curriculum.
For the ICT plan, yes. Like I said, we are connecting the schools.
Okay.
It's our job to connect the schools, make sure that the internet is delivered to the schools.
Can you share with us what has been done so far, or what the plan is to get to?
So we have a list of schools that we are supposed to connect. So if you look at some of the free SHS schools that they are putting up, they give us a list of schools where they want the connectivity to go to. We survey the place. Some of it we send fiber to it. Some of them we send microwave. Some of them we do point to point to be able to get connectivity to the schools. So
Sounds great. So how many have you done so far? Do you have the figures of head?
Not off the top of my head.
No. So is this something you're willing to bring us later?
Sure. I can contact my engineers and be able to get it.
Okay. So this forum, when it is over, what do you want to see that will give you the satisfaction that, wow, we've achieved?
Well, what we're looking to achieve is to make sure that everybody has a voice in this conversation as to how we're going to drive ICT in this country. Because there's been other occasions where you hear people that we didn't have stakeholder consultation, we are not part of the conversation, we are dropping things on our head, and we don't like it. So everybody come to the table. Let's discuss it. How do we want to see it?
How do we want to see it?
And then when we know what we want to do with it, then we draw the plan and say, you are part of it, I'm part of it. Now let's move forward with what we intend to do.
So ultimately, we're looking more at policy formulation.
Exactly. So we ask us to just regulate it, make sure that the systems that we are using is right, is safe for the people, especially cybersecurity. It's big and it's going to be continue to grow. So we need to make sure that we secure your information and my information so it doesn't get out of wrong hands. Okay.
I believe that you're set to go. Take us through the details again. Why people should be there, just a bit of the details.
So, like I said, we have contacted the ministers and their deputies, the CEOs and their deputies, and also the directors who are in charge of ICT in these various agencies, because they are the decision makers. Sometimes we also have to let them appreciate what we are doing. Some people go and they'll go like, oh, ICT there is the last thing I'll pay for. Probably I'll pay for water, I'll pay for, but it's also a service, right, that people have to be aware of. The security aspect of it. People are using their private emails at work. It's not supposed to be the case. Also, the Minister of Communication, Honorable Oslo has made it clear to all government agencies that they have to move to the .gov email, because that is the secure platform. And also when people leave work, we also need to track some of this information if we need stuff from them. So some people walk away with their Yahoos and they're retired.
They've got all the information.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, so we need to structure the system, and that's some of it.
Yeah, I got that. I wanted you to take us through the program. You know, when is it happening? What is happening? Who's coming? Who can come?
So it's happening at Alisa Hotel on Monday, the 15th of April. It starts around registration starts around 8:30 in the morning, and then we have the honorable speaker. It's going to, the guest speaker is going to be Honorable Minister of Communication. We do have a senior minister also attending. We also do have the Deputy Minister of Communication, Honorable Odete Sowa, is going to be there. We also have the Director General for NITA, and that's my boss, Honorable David Jewus, is going to be there. I'm going to be there myself, and then we're going to start at 8:30 in the morning. CIOs, their deputies, directors of agencies, MMDAs, ministers and their deputies, and CEOs and their deputies are more than welcome.
So can I just come? Can anybody just walk in?
Well, not just anybody. Then we just be running the whole fanfare. But we have the people who are in charge
specific
of ICT.
Stakeholders.
Yes.
Okay. Kweku Che Ofori, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much
for the clarification. He is with the National Information Technology Agency, NITA, and that operates under the Ministry of Communication. They're looking to formulate policy that will guide ICT behavior, if you like, implementation in this country. And it's happening in Alisa on the 15th, which is Monday. Not everybody is invited, by the way, he says, but key stakeholders are invited. I'm sure that if you are part of it, you certainly have. But people should be able to make an input into this. Social media, can they do that? Can people, you know, bring their input into the policy? Through social media, how do they get through to NITA, for example, if they have ideas?
So they can email us at info@nita.gov.gh.
Okay. And info@nita.gov.gh.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's official
all caps
email.
Or
I mean, emails don't work with caps or small letters. They're just emails.
So info@nita.gov.gh.
Yes.
Okay. So if you want to, get across your thoughts about how we can do this, so maybe they will not even listen to you, but you just want to give it a try.
We do our very best to make sure
you listen.
As an inclusive conversation.
Okay, so that's info@nita.gov.gh. Mr. Che Ofori, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.